everybody? We're Fight Club from New York City, but you already knew that. Welcome to podcast number 4.
Yeah, we're very excited. We're getting a really good response from everyone. For those of you that are tuning in on iTunes or just watching us on YouTube, we really thank you guys for all the support and the feedback. We're trying to get the podcast up on Spotify. We're working on that for this one. Hopefully it'll happen. But a lot of things to talk about. A lot of cool stuff has been going on, and a lot of just a lot of things in general have been changing in the dance music culture, especially here in New York City. But we're gonna get into that in a little bit. A lot of people have been referencing a certain individual, a certain DJ in our scene, and I'm not going to mention any names, but some people ask us what our thoughts are, and we thought it would be interesting to bring it to light during the podcast. And the individual we are referring to is Candy. He's a DJ that goes by the name of Candy. His real name is Kevin, and I've actually known Kevin for 4 years now.
For years, man.
He was actually in this very studio. I don't know if you remember Mysterio.
Yes.
But he was in
before the Pasha show.
Yes, before his very first DJ set. He was here in the studio.
And he killed it that night. His debut, I remember.
He came to the studio to learn how to DJ. So that was pretty interesting.
Because he was primarily a producer.
At the time, right.
Already murdering it on the production level. And then, it was his first night.
So he came here and I taught him, I gave him a quick course, a quick DJ course 101
the
with the CDJs.
101. DJing 101 with Professor SAV.
It was a really cool experience, and I really love seeing Candy's growth, not just as an artist, but as an individual, as a person.
Yes.
And that's the topic we want to start off with, and that's sexuality in dance music culture. Now, there are a lot of preconceived notions on sexuality in general, especially in 2018. But we're just going to stick to what we know, which is, quote unquote, I hate the acronym, but EDM, right? Because that's what people think we are, which is EDM.
What do you want to be called as EDM? I mean, what are we?
I think we just make electronic music, right?
Electronic
Because
music.
if we're making Moombaton or Jungle Terror or Bubbling or whatever it is, or even Afro House, like
it all fall under that umbrella.
Exactly. Yeah. But you can't really break that down for people. You can't explain it
that's why we have 1,000 different subcultures that makes it really convoluted and confusing that only the real aficionados know.
Right, so I guess we have to talk about and focus mainly on bass music, right? Because Candy makes bass music. Like, he's not, doesn't really, I know he delves into other genres, but he's not known for making house music, let's say. Like, Candy's made similar sounding music to our sound, right? Like, we all fall under the same or similar umbrella. We make hard electronic bangers for festival music. And Candy, to our knowledge, is one of the first artists to really come out of the closet, quote unquote, and let everyone know that he is gay, that his sexual orientation is gay. And I don't remember when he came out, Mysterio. When was it? Like earlier this year?
It's like a year ago now. But, to go further with what you were saying, obviously, there are plenty of DJ producers, DJs in general, that are gay. But like you said, not specifically within our scene. I know the whole, like, Danny Tenaglia, Boris crowd, JP, kind of that tribal, kind of the old school Pasha crowd, right? A lot of those guys were gay, but they didn't so much put it in their brand, I guess. But I think, like you said, for our scene, for our kind of the Alex English girls and boys crowd.
I think we could just say contemporary dance culture, contemporary dance music culture. So anything that really started coming out after like 2008 or 2000, I guess like around the electro bangers era, like Justice, Mastercraft.
Sure.
That era. Anything that came after that is considered quote unquote EDM, even though it's not really accurate, but yeah, I guess you could say Candy is really the first one on, I guess on a mainstream level to come out and really announce this, right? And he not only, it wasn't just to the culture, but it was to his own family. Like he even posted a video where he goes to his family's house and they have dinner and he tells them that he's gay openly. And it was a really awesome video, very touching, and I thought it was really cool because he shared a very private moment in his life with his audience. And the other cool thing about it was that Diplo was also vouching for him and stood behind him and even put out Candy's single, which is Feeling Cunt, on Mad Decent. So it was Diplo's way of co-signing Candy, but Diplo is no stranger to co-signing gay artists. I mean, he's worked with several in his career. One of his big singles, what was the name of the song? Express Yourself, right? With Nikki DeB. Nikki DeB, rest in peace, was also gay. And Diplo's just been known for these collaborations in the past. But it was cool that he really got behind Candy and is still behind Candy and pushing him and pushing what he stands for. But again, like Mysterio stated, this is nothing new technically in the dance culture. If you want to go back, we can even predate it to like the 70s, right? When
well, the Vogue culture that Madonna appropriated, that all comes from, from the club scene. Party Monster, you've seen the movie with Macaulay Culkin, James St. James.
Right, but that's the 90s. I'm talking about even before that. We're talking about like...
you're talking about going back.
Like Paradiso. We can talk about...
SAV's taking it way back.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I mean, gay culture was pretty prominent in dance music culture and was very instrumental in the growth of it.
Sure.
Paradise Garage, that was a very popular club in the 70s. Just the house music scene back then.
There's a whole documentary on it, Paris is Burning.
Back then, in the 70s and 80s, the gay culture was very important to the club culture. But it kind of receded into the background over the years, right, Mysterio? Like, yeah, it wasn't as prominent, and
like you said, all these subsidiary genres branching off. Like you said, the Moomatones, the Jungle Terrors, the Jerseys, all these, global bass sounding niche genres. It definitely didn't carry over into those. I can't tell you a Jungle Terror artist or Moomba artist.
Or even like imagine like seeing a gay dubstep producer.
Or gay dubstep.
Because dubstep is such a ferocious genre. It's such a.
It reminds me of
aggressive genre, right?
Angry boys, like angry young boys, like take this,
Yeah, like those. There's certain like dubstep, drum and bass. Like those genres are so aggressive and fast and ferocious that you don't really you wouldn't normally associate a gay producer with that genre, but I'm sure there are and were producers that were gay that were making that type of music, but they couldn't really be open about it because it would be scary because you would lose your fan base, or at least that was the notion, right, at the time.
Yeah.
They were like, well, people might think that coming out is gonna
just that, like it's
affect
even
my career.
Something that's real deep about it. I remember speaking with, I don't know if a lot of you remember, maybe not, but Hearts of Revolution was a big act a few years ago, and I remember having a conversation with her backstage at one of our shows, and she talked about this boys club. She's like, I'm disheartened with the scene because it became this big boys club, bunch of boys, and how many women they can get and how they're gonna press girls, and that really has kind of shaped the scene for a while. The boys club, like the cool guys. The last thing you were seeing was guys coming out and talking about their true sexuality, being gay. You weren't seeing that in the boys club that she was talking about. I don't know if I did a good job explaining that, but that definitely is something that has existed in our scene, and it's good to see us moving from that, because like you said, not only does Candy come out, but Diplo co-signs it. Then I see Diplo on Instagram dancing in like a little underwear, like doing saying her name is Electra, like he created this character.
He was in drag, right? He dressed in
drag. He was dressed in drag for another
Halloween.
picture. Yeah. He had the hair, long hair like this. He was in drag. So seeing these things, going from a boys club to this, And it's interesting because I do believe that when she was talking to me about the boys club, she mentioned Diplo per se. So it's interesting to see this evolution, this change. And I think it's a extremely positive thing. It's a positive change.
Definitely. And you see it all around you when you go to these festivals. There are a lot of kids that obviously represent the plural mentality, right? The ideology of peace, love, unity, and respect. And they have the gay flags while they're out in the pits. And I see that all the time, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I wish this was more integral and more visible, right, amongst producers as well, because there's a lot of producers that low-key are gay and they won't come forward because they're afraid. They're just like, I don't know, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to announce that. Or some of them might even think, like, it's not important. Why should that get in the way of my music? Like, why is that important to my brand? Like, that's not...
That's an interesting thing you said. That is the antiquated way of thinking. I think that in 2018, people like to see your true colors and self come out into your brand. It is extremely important to tie your branding to your music and what you're doing. It makes the people, the listener, feel like they know you more. They have a more insight into your life. They like that as an audience. And that's my most favorite thing about Candy coming out. Take the whole gay thing out of the equation. This is a big part of your life and who you are. You're giving us this music, but we want more insight into who you are so we can, maybe it helps you understand the music even more, get more of a feel. I think it's always important to put who you are into this. People may say it's interesting for someone like you wearing a mask, coming out talking about showing your true self. But in all seriousness, my decision to wear something like this is a huge indicator and very reflective of who I am as a person. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's deep. And this reflects that I'm fucking crazy enough to walk into a fucking airport wearing this thing. Should show you a lot about who I am as a person. So, looking at it like that, I'm extremely happy that it's a more honest portrayal of Candy's brand, right? Now that he was able to, like, pull off the curtain and be like, hey, this is me, I'm gay. Like, it's a very honest portrayal. It's who he is, it's his life. So, I'm not saying that his branding before was not honest, but I feel like it wasn't fully realized. It couldn't be, because he was hiding this big chunk of his life that's very important. So now, for the first time, I really feel like Candy is an established brand now. And it goes into the music. I'm cunt. Look at that title. Like, there's gay innuendo. Like, cunt is a word used in the gay culture. Right. And even the vibes of the song, it fits with the brand.
Well, even the video, there's...
Of course. Well,
there's transgender and so there's... Everyone in the video is in drag.
Yes, absolutely. Even before I saw that video, I kind of got those feels, and then I was so happy when the video, I'm like, oh, they nailed it. This is what he had to do.
Right, because the song reminds you, like you said, of that earlier Vogue era, right? Like in the 90s?
Does. Yes. Yeah. It definitely does. It was definitely... and it was smart to, like, if you are going to come out in our scene, as you said, it was smart to kind of do a throwback sound like that. Very smart. That was well thought of. I gotta say, that was well orchestrated to do that kind of song, because that was his first release after coming out.
It was literally his coming out song as well.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting to see how things will develop from here on out, because you would think in 2018 this would be something normal, but it's kind of sad that it's not, right? Because, like, the fact that
I thought the same thing.
Right? I feel like it should be normal, but who knows? Maybe Candy's very brave for doing it, and being, to our knowledge, like we said, we might be wrong, but to our knowledge, he's one of the first in contemporary dance music to come out. And we hope that other artists do the same, that they follow suit if they really have those convictions and, are gay, if they feel like they need to do it.
That's part of why he did it. Like, to give other younger people a voice too.
And to inspire them.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But we both kind of thought at the time, like, is this a big deal? Like, it's awesome that it's coming out, but we were like, a lot of people are gay. But then when I started seeing the way people were coming out and like, yo, you know, and kind of shocked by it and giving him kudos. I said, I guess it's not that normal. It's not as, and that is sad. It's sad that in 2018 that this would be a big deal. And I could only hope that guys like Candy coming out and do this normalize it so that the next generation can just be gay and make their music and not have to be a big revelation, you know?
Right.
It's sad that he couldn't always just be that from the start. But he's not to blame. The world, figure when Candy came out 4 or 5 years ago, we've gotten very progressive as a society. A lot of things have changed in these 4 years. A lot. I mean, you look back just 4 years ago, Me Too didn't exist. This whole like, the kind of sexuality boom we're having, it may have been starting, but it wasn't like this. I think that it was a different climate. I don't know that Candy could have done this 4 years ago. I don't know.
I don't think it would have been as effective.
I don't think so.
4 years ago.
No. It was the right time.
It was the right time. Exactly.
The right time.
But switching gears a little bit here, wow, what a devastating loss for New York City. We lost another great nightclub that was a beacon for dance music. We lost Output, which was a club that was in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And the year prior to that, we lost Webster Hall, which was our favorite club.
Oh, yeah.
And, man, I don't know. This is just like, this topic hits close to home for me because I've been a huge advocate online. I've been talking to so many promoters and so many producers here in New York City, trying to get them to really come together and band together to really avoid this to avoid these things from happening. But it's like no matter what, it gets to the point where you just don't even want to say anything anymore, Mysterio.
You could take the goat to the water. You can't make the goat drink.
It's disheartening. There are so many talented producers. But this is the thing. This is why we want to talk about this, because if you're a DJ that spins electronic dance music or any genre for that matter, I've been receiving a lot of replies on Twitter because I was very outspoken about this, and I said, what a shame, we lost another great club. And then people were like,
good riddance.
This isn't just happening in New York City. A lot of people have said this is happening all across the country, and that's sad. That's sad. There's so many amazing local talent, and these promoters are just not pushing them. And it's I don't understand.
You're sad. I'm beyond sad. Like I've passed that stage of sadness. Now I'm laughing. I'm like, good riddance. Bah. The last time I cried was Webster Hall, because that was different. Webster Hall, I feel actually, I mean, as much as they did outsource talent like everybody else, we played Webster Hall more than any other club in New York City. I would say that. Yeah. You can look up those stats. I say we played Webster Hall pretty regularly. I mentioned boys and girls parties earlier. We were a staple there. Alex English always showed love. He realized the importance. There were certain New York DJ producers that would get gigs there. So I don't really put them in
several.
that scene. I mean,
a majority of the ones that
majority.
I'm still friends with, I met through Webster Hall.
Exactly, and that was a beautiful thing, and that broke my heart when I cried for that club. Someone like Output, I've watched for years. They continue to outsource all over the States. Just totally, the only times we played that club was the Jungle Fever parties. And I'm not being bitter, not being salty. I'm just telling you, like a fucking father who told you not to drink, and then you came home, fucking passed out and threw up all over yourself, and I found you with your head in the toilet. I'm gonna look at you and go, that's what you get. I told you not to. I took the drink out of your hand 4 times. You snuck behind my back. Now you got your head in the toilet. You're covered in puke. You lost your girlfriend. She thinks you're a nasty mess. You puked in her mouth. You did something really stupid. You took your dick out at the party and waved it around, you know, at your high school party. And
everyone caught it on Instagram, and now
it's on Instagram. Now you're the
your dick's all over everyone's story.
It's all over everyone's story. You little fucking chode because you weren't even hard because you were all drunk. You had whiskey dick. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you are. You have whiskey dick, Output. Fuck you. Like, you made your bed. You made your bed. You had plenty of time. You have plenty of time. Plenty of talent. You have the best sound system in New York City. Best sound system in New York City.
But here's the thing, Mysterio. I think
A lot of good
you're
things
being a
going for that
little
club.
too harsh, though. I will say, they did give platforms to local talent, but they would put them in the Panther Room, which was the smallest room in the club. I would always notice that. I would always see, like, for example, Capo or Sanity, whenever they played there, those are our friends that are also producers and DJs from New York City. I was always happy when they would send me a flyer saying I'm playing Output, but then I would see, in parentheses, the Panther Room. And then in the main room, it would be some DJ from LA or Texas, whatever. And it was just always mind-boggling to me. I'm like, why are you sending these guys to the small rooms when you can have them in the main rooms and cut down on cost?
Because that's filler.
Significantly.
They're using those guys as filler and they're half-assing it. You can't tell me that they're supporting local talent. They're putting them in a shit room. If you're supporting local talent, you're giving them a spot.
You give them the main room.
At least opening in the main
Yeah,
room.
I hear you.
You know, you doing that is, and I wonder how much those guys were even paid for those shows. And that's not anything to those guys. Those guys are more talented than some of these schmucks I see headlining.
No, that's what I'm saying. They deserve to
They
be in the main
deserve
room.
a better spot.
And that's why Output is no longer with us. Because
And that's why I can't give Output a pass. And that's why I can't say they really supported local talent. I think they used local talent for their benefit. I think that they benefited more out of that relationship, getting a really talented DJ like a Sanity or Capo to, you know, play the smaller room.
Yeah, I remember even the Brunch Bounce when they had their after party for one of their big events. I think like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I was so shocked, man. I was like, why are they giving them the Panther Room? These guys could easily pack out the main room, even if it is an after party for a festival that they just had across the street. It didn't make any sense. I think maybe they were trying to keep the main room very niche sounding. They wanted like techno, tech house, you know, specific genres in the main room. And I get it. And I read the post for Output. Like they rewrote like a really biblical post. It was like 4 or 5 pages. And they go into all these different factors as to why they closed down. And one of them that stood out to me was we were trying to uphold a specific sound or style.
Exactly.
But okay, well, I commend you for that, but it ultimately,
They
look
were
what happened.
too snobby for their own good. And I always thought they were snobs. When we played those Jungle Fever parties, we were forbidden from taking photographs and video. And I remember saying to myself, I go, do these guys know the industry that they're working in? Are they aware of where dance music's at? On the one hand, I commended them. Because look, I'm an old school guy. I don't like that people go to concerts and shows and watch the whole thing from behind their fucking screen. I don't like that, but hey, this is the culture now. People like to take videos and they go back and look at the video. Oh, you remember when he dropped this? What song? I don't know the ID. Play it for me. Oh yeah, I know that song. That's Master
Yeah,
Fan.
and it proliferates
with Fight
the
Club
culture.
and Lawtech. That came out in the WikiLeaks. That actually comes out tomorrow. Yeah, I know that song. And, you know, whatever reason, people want footage.
No, I 100% agree.
I always thought that was really snobbish. And trust me, that's part of it.
But
It's part
Mysterio,
of it.
high risk.
Imagine telling young bitches, I'm sorry.
High risk, high reward, though.
2018.
High risk,
Imagine
high
telling
reward.
young girls, yo, you can go to this club, you can't take pictures, no selfie. What? Dude, that probably hurt the club.
High risk, high reward, though.
Snobs.
It was a big risk.
Big risk, big fail.
Employing that rule into the rules of conduct for the club was a major risk that, you know, helped the club in many ways, right? Because like you said, people were like somewhat attracted to that, no? Because just to play devil's advocate here, there were people that were probably like, I want to go to a club in New York City where I'm not at risk of being photographed, because a lot of people are shady, right? And they're probably going there with their mistresses or people they shouldn't be hanging out with. And, you know, if you're getting photographed, that's going to end up on Instagram the next day. But if you're going to this club, it becomes like this safe haven for you.
Sure.
And it's like, oh, okay, so that was probably alluring for a lot of people, a lot of club goers. But like you said,
More than all,
a majority of the club goers nowadays aren't really interested in that stuff, because a lot of them are young. A lot of them are probably not married or doing sketchy things like that, or probably don't even care if they're caught doing sketchy things, because that's the culture we're in nowadays. Nobody cares if you're being photographed with a cigarette in your mouth or joining your hand or whatever, or needle in your arm, whatever. Like, you won't care until you're applying for a decent job. And then that kind of shit comes up later on. But in the moment, people don't really care.
No.
But I get what you're saying.
And to take it one step further,
It did hurt the club in the long run.
The one really good thing about Output is this almost taught us something, right? As if it was an experiment. Here was a club that was made, tailor-made, for traditional dance music lovers of the scene. And I think Output not being able to survive proves the scene is very much dead in New York. You were trying to sell something to people that don't exist here. We know it ourselves. We throw a monthly party, got like 60 heads last time, if you're being friendly, and it was an amazing party with amazing untapped talent. The thing is, as I'm saying, is right now in New York City, not to go on a tangent, but this scene is dead. You heard it here from Mysterio. Diplo wants to go denounce dance music and all this shit. I'm telling you right now, dance music is very much alive in other places. You know, it's thriving here in New York City, in my fucking city. It pains me to say, it's fucking disgusting. It's dead. It's dead.
All right, Mysterio, calm down.
No.
Calm down.
No.
Is it really?
Yes.
Okay. Then how come the other day when Bilo and Hero Bus played in Brooklyn, it was almost a sold-out show? Nightmare's next show in the same venue in Brooklyn is sold out already. So how is it dead?
It's dead in the fact.
How is it dead? If these shows are doing well, 4B's show at Avant Gardner in Brooklyn is sold out.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking
That's
about.
What we're talking about.
Okay, but I'm more talking about the actual being able to create within the people from here. That's all outsourcing.
Okay.
And you're bringing.
That's true.
Other people from other states where it's very much alive.
That's true.
And yes, at least in that case, they can still fill up shows.
But let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Yeah, granted they are outsourcing, which is still a major problem. The culture is still obviously very much alive because people are still coming out to these shows. There's an audience for bass culture and bass shows. But I think the problem is a lot of these Brooklyn clubs and clubs in the city, first of all, the clubs in the city aren't even catering to electronic music. They're bottle service clubs. It's becoming like Vegas in Manhattan right now. All they care about is hip hop and mainstream top 40, whatever that is, which is right now predominantly hip hop.
You told me yourself.
But in Brooklyn, they have clubs for dance music, but guess what? They're catering to people that like tech house.
The last show I came here, I don't even like to mention names, I'm just gonna say it. I saw Ape Drums. He played maybe 2 of his songs. So guys are being sent into our city to play mainstream music. I'm sorry, just because they're selling out the club doesn't mean that it's alive. I mean, look, I wasn't at the Bilo Hero Bus show. I'm sure that they played their sets. I'm sure they weren't playing mainstream sets. But a lot of the shows that I've gone to see in New York City, these guys are coming out here and playing mainstream music. Just because they're selling the venue out doesn't show me that the real scene is alive.
I highly doubt.
It shows me they're a bunch of puppets.
I highly doubt Bilo and Hero Bus were playing mainstream music. No. I saw some clips from that show.
No, I'm agreeing.
And I highly doubt Nightmare is going to do that when he comes here.
I'm agreeing with you.
And I don't think 4B is going to do that. So, okay, yeah, maybe whatever. You want to bring up Ape Drums, but I'm just saying, I don't know, man. I feel like promoters really, and this isn't just in New York, because apparently, Mysterio, it's all over the country. Promoters need to have a little more faith in bass music and in the underground sound. And I'm not talking about underground in terms of house music and tech house and minimal stuff. I'm talking about the hard bangers, the fucking, rail breaking shit, That's what kids want to hear, and there is a culture for it, especially in the major cities. When we go to Kansas City, there's a huge bass culture, right? When we go to, where's that, the club that we always play in Minneapolis, right? There's these Jacksonville, Florida. There's places in select parts of the country that still love this music. That still love it.
And I'm not in disagreement, but I am saying the clubs haven't caught on to that.
Is it the clubs or the promoters?
Well, the promoters that work for the club,
right.
The promoters are bringing the town to the clubs.
I don't even know who it is, Mysterio, honestly, at this point.
So obviously these people you mentioned, the Hero Bus, the Nightmares, the Bylaws, you know, have garnered big names, and yes, they'll bring them here. But yes, I'm in agreement that there's some people may not have those names, but can throw that caliber of a party for you here in the city to save you some fucking money, and you can have a similar kind of night, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we have artists like Black Sheep here, like Sanity. There's so many dope, man, I can go on. There are so many dope producers and artists still living in New York.
That aren't getting these opportunities.
No, and that's why a lot of them give up and move to LA, which is another mistake altogether, but I don't want to get into that.
That's a whole nother
But
story.
I'm just saying, like,
It's just like, we're like...
it's
hamsters
discouraging for
running
people like them and
around
us.
the fucking wheel.
Because we're from New York and we're very discouraged. I mean, I don't know if you can hear it in the tone of our voices
Yeah,
right
and I
now.
hope it's not coming out as bitter, man.
It's not even like that. It's just like there's no reason to give up. We can make it better. And this podcast specifically goes out to any promoters out there or anyone that owns a club. If for whatever reason you listen to our podcast, we're speaking to you guys. You guys need to really do some research, do your homework, invest in some promoters that really know the culture, and adhere to these kids that really want to listen to this type of music. I mean, we know them firsthand. Sometimes when we do like our Tropico parties or our small events in New York, these people come out, and even though we're not even playing that music, because sometimes we can't, we're very limited. Like you said, Mysterio, when you were talking about Ape drums, some
That
clubs.
wasn't an attack.
No,
It was
I
just
know,
an
but
observation.
yeah, and if someone were to make an observation about us during some of our sets in New York, sometimes we have to play very different sets, like Abe Drums did. Because like for example, we played a show 2 weeks ago in New York City, and some of our fans that know us for a specific sound came out, and I had to really make the set very different. I had to play lighter music because the club itself was not really open to that music. And if I would have started playing heavy bangers, which I did towards the end of the set, you know, I gradually built up the energy. But if I would have started off with our normal set, we would have been yanked off.
But that's exactly...
But it doesn't have to be
You cannot
that
tell
way.
me that we're in a vibrant city with every, you know...
No, we're not.
You can't tell me that. Because all the places you mentioned, who's throwing part Pier 94? How many places now can you go? Where's Bylaw and Hero Bus? They played in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn Steel. Yeah, that's a new venue.
That's a new venue. I'm not familiar with that venue.
Yeah, it's...
That's good that another venue popped up, because Webster, Pasha, Output, all gone.
Yeah.
What do we have left? Terminal? You got Terminal 5,
Shemansky,
P94, Shemansky's.
Brooklyn Steel now, Avant-Gardner.
Yeah.
I mean, there's venues popping up here and there, but you're right. It's a very disheartening time for bass music.
It goes like this. It's like saying... It's like if you only have like 8 casinos in Vegas, right? You'd be like, yo, what are you guys complaining? You have 8. You're like, but this is Vegas. This is New York City. We're supposed to be... We are so embroiled in the fucking dance music history.
Agreed.
In New York City. Limelight. Tunnel. You know, like, so much history. It's disgusting for us. Like, there's a bar that we've set, and sure, we may be okay. We have a few venues, as you mentioned. People come down and they get outsourced and they play here. That's great. But for the level, for us being New York City, it should be so much more than that. It should be so much more. You should be seeing the local talent, also getting looks, also embroiled in the culture. They should be wrapped up in there. They should be at these events as well, with good looks, better placement. You know, I have no problem, obviously. Dude, we get outsourced all the time. Like, I'm not against people going to other states and countries. Like, we'd have no livelihood if we didn't do that. That's the game. I'm just saying, as you are. Sometimes, I'm sorry, guys. It takes me a long time to get to my point, but stick with me. What I'm saying is, they got to do a better job of balancing it.
Agreed.
You know, if you maybe on a Tuesday night you bring someone out, Thursday night is local DJ night, or maybe you want to combine them.
Combine
like
them.
you said, have your guys instead of putting them in a small room downstairs, have them open on the main stage.
Mysterio,
Because guess what?
Yeah.
You give them a look like that, maybe they end up getting a bigger fan base.
Absolutely.
And then you bring them back as a headliner, and you don't even gotta buy them a plane ticket. It's smarter for the venues. You know, listen, if you guys had an abundant amount of money, I'd say, hey, keep doing what you're doing. It's working for you. But as I'm seeing these clubs close down on the regular, I'm going fundamentally, they're doing something wrong.
And Mysterio, to take your point one step further, whenever we go to China or Japan or any of these places, we're the headliners, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? The people playing before us are local DJs.
Yes. And guess what? There's been times where we've been fucking bumped around to accommodate the local DJs. What we're trying to say is they really, in these other countries and other parts of the world, they actually respect their openers. I've had DJs who are closing after us, like the end of the night, come over and like trying to kick us off and
almost as if they're the headliners.
As if they're the headliners. And guess what? There's no one yelling at them. It ain't us. We ain't yelling at them. Like it's not like a manager. It's not like the owner of what's a nightclub and whatever. You know, it's not like an owner's coming over going, hey, you guys you better slow your fucking roll. Can't Fight Club's still playing. Sit the fuck down. No one's doing that.
No.
My point is they actually have some kind of clout.
But if anything,
in these other places.
If anything, to go one step further,
here in New York,
these promoters,
we're thrown in the cellar. We're playing outside of the fucking venue by a hot dog stand, like hey, with a fucking hat out, saying put change in my fucking hat.
If these promoters were to, like you said, adopt
homeless EDM.
Let me talk. If they were to adopt the mentality of, like you said, let's have our local guys play before the main talent, they would thrive. Business would be booming because the local talent is here every week, so they know what gets people moving. So let's say the headliner, okay, yes, the headliner may have millions of followers or whatever, but let's say they don't know how to play a set that caters to that crowd. Your opener and your closer are local, so they know how to bring the energy back, and that's way more advantageous to the club culture and the scene in general. And you're gonna make more money at the bar. People will stay in the club a lot longer, and overall, it's better for business. I just don't understand why these promoters and these club owners they don't see this. It's right under their noses. I don't know. It's very disheartening. But if anyone's watching out there and you're in a position of power, heed our warning. If you don't do these things...
And I'll be laughing as you close down and I'll tweet about it.
You don't do these things.
Do whatever you want. I don't give a fuck.
Your business will be will be doomed. It's just inevitable. It's inevitable. But on that note, let's end things on a more positive vibe, right? Let's get some positive vibes out there. We're very excited. We're going to be playing EDC Mexico in February, and we're playing a major festival in the Philippines, January 26th. And we have a big year coming up in 2019. 2018 was an incredible year for us, but we're going to take things to the next level next year. One
of our best years, for sure.
We're going to take things to the next level next year. And hopefully we can take things to the next level in New York City.
I wouldn't hope.
Because I feel like we keep.
You can wish in one hand and you can crap in the other. See which one gets filled up first.
We keep growing in other parts of the country and in other countries, but it's a shame our city is just.
New York City can suck a fat dick.
Whoa! Calm down, Mysterio. Mysterio's getting all riled up over here.
Yeah.
He's ready.
Not that there's anything wrong with sucking a dick, but if New York City doesn't want to suck a dick...
To go back to go back to Candy earlier, I mean, yeah, let's not offend.
I didn't mean it like that.
Let's not offend.
I can't live in 2018.
Let's not offend anyone.
I can't do it. 2018, nah, but for real. New York City, I fucking love you. Just wake the fuck up.
Exactly.
Please.
And we don't have any promos to play because... Honestly, guys, all the promos that I received, none of them were, they weren't really up to par. So keep sending your stuff. If we like something that we want to sign, we'll play it on the podcast. But yeah, I didn't really.
We're not gonna just play anything.
We're not just gonna play anything just for the sake of filling a quota during the podcast. Like, we're not about that. So yeah, we really have nothing to play. But should we play Meet Me at Boat's House to end the show?
I mean, we could, yeah.
All right. We're gonna play our upcoming release with Makla and Kill Kid, and it's called Meet Me at Boat's House. And we're gonna end the show with that song. And this song is gonna come out on our label Fight Free at the end of December. So by the time you're listening to this podcast, it will probably be available already on all major platforms, iTunes, Spotify, whatever. Make sure to look out for it. It is called Meet Me at Boat's House. Boat's House is actually a legendary club in Germany, in Cologne, Germany, that we frequent very often. We played there twice already, and we love it. It's one of the best clubs we've ever played, and we decided to name the song after the club. So listen to it. Let us know your thoughts. This is Fight Club. Over and out. I'm SAV.
I'm Mysterio.
We love you guys. Stay up. Positive vibes. Much love.
Everybody knows I